So hello everyone, welcome to this another video of Scale Up India. I'm Abhishek Verma and you are watching the Hibernate series. So till now in this series we have covered so many concepts. We have seen everything with Hibernate, the CRUD operations, then we also saw various kinds of mappings, various kinds of associations. We also saw various inheritance strategies, we also saw various fetching strategies. Then we also discussed about the Hibernate query language. We also discussed about the Hibernate criteria API. We covered caching, primary cache, secondary cache. We covered about the persistence context as well as the entity states also. And each and everything was covered with the help of demos. So that is the best part of this particular series. Then in the last video, we also covered about JPA, that how we can make usage of JPA standards and what are the benefits of making usage of JPA. So the main benefit is that later on, instead of Hibernate, if you wish to switch on to Eclipse link or to some other provider, you can do the things easily. Yeah, but there we didn't cover about the various CRUD operations or what is the alternative of HQL or what is the alternative of Hibernate criteria API. So in today's video, we are going to cover all those things. So basically in today's video, we are going to make changes in our repository layer. Now you can see this video in two different ways. So way number one is that here in my today's demo, I'm having the repository layer already implemented with me. And the complete code has been implemented with the help of Hibernate standards. So each and everything from the Hibernate like session factory, session, transaction, their methods, HQL, and each and everything is implemented there. Now what I will be doing is that we will go there step by step and we will be changing the things as per the JPA. So it will be useful to you in case if you are already having a project which is written in Hibernate completely and now someone has asked you to make usage of JPA standards. So then it is going to be very much useful for you. In case you say that no, I want to create a project from scratch and then I want to see that what are the JPA specifications, how to configure JPA and each and every method, how to write. I want to see those things. So then also it will be helpful to you because you just need to be aware of the scenario. So I will say that, okay, there is a scenario of saving a particular owner in our Pakistan application. So I will show you that, okay, what are the changes needed or how to write the code. So that way also you can see the video. Yeah. So in both the cases, this video is going to be helpful to you. Now it may happen that video goes a little bit long. So in that case, you can just skip some in between parts, or if you wish, you can watch the video at 1.5 or 2x also. That is also going to work. Also, I'm not going to cover the details of each and everything like criteria API because that is already covered in the specific Hibernate video. HQL details I won't cover because that is also already covered in the specific video. What I'll do is I'll try to put the links on the top somewhere on the I button on the top. Otherwise, each and every video, each and every concept is available in the Hibernate playlist, which you can very easily check here. So this full playlist is available here. Whatever you wish to see in detail, that you can check here. Here, my goal is to convert it to the JPA standards. So if that is clear, let's directly get started with the coding part. Here we don't have any deck for today as of now. The basic configuration we have already seen in the previous video. So let's get started. So here we are, and as you can see, today we need to work on demo number 25. As always, what I have done is I have copied the things from the previous demos here. So what I can show you is that in my pom.xml, I'm having this Hibernate core version. So this dependency is available because in the last video I told you that even if you say I need to work with the JPA standards, you need at least one of the implementations. It can be either Hibernate or Eclipse link. And then we have a MySQL dependency here. Only two things. I'm not covering the cache part here. That is same which we have done in the Hibernate here. Then here, if we go, so you see data.sql is available here where all the data things are there. Database.sql is also available. Then this messages.properties file is containing the arrow messages. Then in the last video, I told you that how to configure the JPA. And for JPA, XML is the only configuration. So this persistence.xml is available here. Here you can see the persistence unit name is Pakistan. And I have mentioned all the classes also: owner, pet, domestic pet, wild pet, URL, username, password, the action, and the show SQL. Each and everything has been mentioned here. So this part is also there. Now moving on to this particular part. So here, if I go to this input util, so I'll directly show you this particular part. So here you can see today we have all these 8 operations here. Now out of these, if you see these first 4 operations, so these are basic CRUD operations which earlier we used to implement with the help of Hibernate basic methods. Then here we have these 3 operations which you can see that we can either, like, we can't use the simple methods for them, so either we can make usage of HQL or the Hibernate criteria API. So today also they have been implemented with HQL, and our goal is to convert them to JPQL. And this last one, so this has been implemented with the help of Hibernate criteria API here, and our goal is to convert it to the normal criteria API, which is directly coming from the JPA part. Rest most of the things are same here as it is, which you have seen in the previous video. And here, in order to make the code simple, what I have done is that whenever I will be accepting the owner details, so since these will be so many details, most of the things here are default here. Okay, so default values will be provided here. Then let me just scroll it to this part. Then mapper util is again same. Here we will be converting it to from DTO to entity, entity to DTO, again same as the previous demos. Then coming on to this particular demo class, so again various cases are available. From this we will be calling our various services, and in this services you see that I have done the implementation also. So there is no change in the service layer part. So this part is going to remain same only. Yeah, so I won't again come back to here. If you want to see this in detail, you can check our previous demos at any point of time. Then from service we will be going to the repository layer, and in the repository you see that currently I have implemented each and everything with the help of Hibernate standards, the session factory, session, transaction. So these are the basic methods. Then here you see we have HQL also, we have Hibernate criteria builder also. Then same in the pet repository, a basic method and HQL is available. So main goal is to change these 2 classes, owner repository IMPL and pet repository IMPL. Then besides this we have these standard exceptions available, enums are also available. The entity class is going to remain same. So in entity we don't have any change, because if you remember, every time we were using the JPA standard annotations. So there is no change whether you make usage of Hibernate here or whether you make usage of JPA here. These things are going to remain same. So here we have a very base class which we are saying mapped superclass. Here we will be generating the primary key. Then we have 2 child classes of it, the owner as well as pet is also available. Both are extending the pet base. Then under the pet again we have this domestic pet and the wild pet. So these all classes are available. Then this DTO is available. Then this particular config class is also available. Properties config to load the messages.properties file, and the database config where I have done the session factory level configuration. So basically in today's video, this database config we need to change, because currently it is making usage of session factory. We need to convert it to the JPA standard, and then beside this we just need to make changes in the owner repository IMPL and pet repository IMPL. Yeah. Now if you want to see any of the details for any other things, like okay, how you started with this database config, how you decided that how to write this particular session method, so all these demos are there. Okay, so there won't be any benefit of repeating all the things. And if you wish that any point of time the things are easy for you, so you can try to skip that part, or you can see at 2x. Yeah. So now let's directly get started. And first of all, the number one thing we need to do is in the database config. So currently you see that here I have implemented session factory, but the thing is that I can't make usage of this session factory because I don't have any hibernate.properties file today. Instead I'm having something like persistence.xml file today. So I need to take help of the JPA standards here. So in the JPA, the number one thing is that instead of session factory, as I mentioned in the previous video, instead of session factory we will be making usage of entity manager factory. So this is the one. So here we call it as entity manager, and then let's call it as factory. So yeah, this is the one. So this is, you can see, is directly coming from the Jakarta. So currently you see there are Hibernate imports are available here. So our goal is to remove the Hibernate imports completely as much as possible and take everything from the Jakarta, so that later on tomorrow if you wish to implement the same thing with the help of Eclipse link and not Hibernate, then also you can do the things easily just by making some changes in the pom.xml and without making any change in your rest of the classes. So this is the one. Now since this is entity manager factory also, so like we shouldn't call it as session factory. Let's give it this name also as entity underscore manager underscore factory. So now this one suits even much more better here. Yeah. Then here it says that its goal is to create a session factory object. Now do we need to really create a session factory? The answer is not. Today we need to create the entity manager factory. So let's put it here, and here also let's put the same thing, entity manager factory. Now in entity manager factory, how to do the configuration, service registry and all these things. So if you remember from the last video, the things are very easy here. So here you just need to take help of persistence. So it is coming again from jakarta.persistence. So this one you need to take here, and here you need to call this method entity manager factory. And within this, you actually don't need to provide the location of this XML file. It will be picked automatically because of this name and this folder name. The only thing which you need to provide is the persistence unit name. And where is it available? So here. So it can be anything. Here I have just named it as same as my application name. So in your whole project, for one database connection, so when I'm saying one database connection, it is MySQL in my case. Yeah. So let's say you say that, okay, in reality I have one MySQL, one PostgreSQL also, or one something else also. So in that case you can have accordingly multiple persistence units also. But in my case it is only one database, and within one database you can have any number of tables. So I'm writing here this same Pakistan. So this is the one. Now what it is providing me, this is directly providing me entity manager factory. So I don't need to do anything much, and I can simply return it. No need of other things here. Now you will say that, okay, how will you say that which are the annotated classes in this particular part? So that if you remember, we don't need to write anything here. It's automatically written here. So in this one, here we write with the help of this class tag. So this is the benefit, and you don't need to give the name of the base, because here you give only the actual entity classes for which you will be having tables here. Yeah. So if that is clear, so here we have created this particular method, and here let me just copy this particular thing. Let me just paste it here, that this is the one, and here also in this one. So what I'll do is I will be providing this particular part here, and here I will be saying this particular part, and here let me just quickly write something like this. Okay. So here what I have done is I have made a singleton implementation here. So now this database config is a singleton class here. There is only one object of entity manager factory. There can't be multiple objects of this. Yeah. Initially, however, I have created by invoking this method built entity manager factory. I have made it private. The constructor is also private. There is no way that you can create another object of this. Yeah. And then I have this public method. So whenever you want an instance of entity manager factory, you can get it from this particular one. Now some of you may say that, okay, serialization can break this, or multi-threading can break this, reflection or cloning can break this. So in that particular case, here we are assuming that, okay, it's a very basic demo. I'm not having any multi-threading here or any other things as such. So there are no chances of getting it broken up by those things. Yeah. But later on, whenever you feel that your application is bigger, so then again you can change this singleton pattern as per your requirement. Okay. The goal of the demos is not to teach or spoon feed each and everything. The goal of these demos is that you get an idea of the basic thing, and then later on, whenever required, you can make the changes according to your requirements. That's why whenever required, I show you the details of each and every annotation, each and every class or interface also. Yeah. So now let me just do something like this. Now you can see everything has been removed from Hibernate. So now this is a JPA standard and not a Hibernate standard, guys. So this particular part has been done. And also if you want to see the detail that how to break a singleton pattern or how to create a singleton class, then you can check out my short videos also, where I have covered in the interview questions. So I'm answering one interview question daily. So before recording this video also, I have answered one interview question, and that is uploaded in my YouTube shorts. Yeah. So this particular part is done, and now our goal is that we will be taking help of this particular method. So let's go to our owner repository and let's provide this particular method here, entity manager factory. And this is not going to provide me a session factory. Instead, it is going to provide me this particular entity manager factory. Now let me just show you some simple things. So if you see, this session factory is actually coming from this particular one, let's say Hibernate. Yeah, and this session factory is actually implementing entity manager factory only. So this is actually implementing entity manager factory, which is coming from JPA. So now when I say you are moving towards JPA standards, so you are not changing anything completely. Okay. So earlier also entity manager factory was somewhere into the picture, but then we were taking the help of its implementation in Hibernate. Now we are taking help of the standard entity manager factory. So that's the particular point here. Yeah. So now let's change it to something like this, entity manager factory, and let's rename this also to as entity manager factory, something like this. So this also we have done here, guys, and now you see that there will be so many errors in my particular class. So same thing I have done here. Let me quickly do the same thing in my pet repository IMPL class and make all the errors here. Okay, so here also you see I'm getting so many errors now. Yeah, we will be resolving all these errors very soon. So database config changes we have done, so that particular part is over. Now let's start doing the things step by step. So here first option was to add a new owner. So when we are adding a new owner, we are passing the owner details. So here you see in the case 1, we are passing the complete owner details after saving the pet also, and from there we were calling this service. So what we were doing basically was we were converting it to the DTO with the help of a particular mapper, and then we were sending the same particular object to our owner repository IMPL. And in owner repository IMPL, you see this is my method here, that is save owner. So this was something I was doing here. I was actually opening a session, because whenever you want to do any interaction with the database, you need to open a session. Now when you actually want to make a change in your database, you need to begin a transaction, and then the method was persist. So it's a simple persist method to do, and then you were just committing. Now let's see that how to make usage of the JPA standards here. Currently I won't clear the code completely. Instead I will be taking help of this only. So let's take help of again this same try with resources, because we don't want to close the things manually. Let's see that if the same things can be closed automatically here, because again entity manager factory was implementing auto closable interface. So this particular part has been done here, and here I basically want entity manager. So like there you have a session, here we call it as entity manager here. So let me just give it a copy to this one, and this particular part, if you see, like if you wish you can just skip a little bit, so that also can be done, because sometimes it takes me a little bit of time to create all these things. Yeah. So here let me say create entity manager. So this one I'm picking up. So same like there it was open session, so that was the method name. Here the method name is create entity manager. So again that's a very simple name here. So again this is coming from JPA, and you see on the top ones that currently there are so many things which are coming from Hibernate, there are so many things which are coming from Jakarta. Our goal is to remove everything from Hibernate and keep everything from JPA. That is our main primary goal here. So this we have done. Now the next part is transaction. So how to get the transaction from this particular part? So let's see if we have any option for that too. So here I will be saying something like get transaction. So this one I will be writing here, that is get transaction. And when I will be writing something like this, so let me just copy a bit. So this is transaction, and again see I'm so lazy, I don't want to write anything with my hand as of now, and I just want to copy as much as possible. So sometimes even this part is good here, guys, that when you start copying the things. So here we have got the transaction. So there it was begin transaction, here it is get the transaction. But the point is this will only give you the transaction. Here you need to begin it explicitly. So this is a particular different part here, that there we were having a common method, begin transaction. This used to begin the transaction as well as get the transaction. Here there are two separate methods. That first one is going to provide you the transaction, and then later on you can begin the transaction, something like this. And similar to begin, you can end the transaction also. So here let me just write it something like this, and here let me say commit. So this is the one. So same commit. Yeah. The only thing is that here getting the transaction and beginning the transactions are two separate methods. There it was a single method. So that is number one difference here. So that also we have done. Now the only thing is we need to replace this particular line. So for this, what I'll do is I'll again take help of entity manager, and I'll see if we have this persist method. So the answer is this persist method is there directly, and here we just need to provide our owner, and yeah, that's it, simple. So you see I have converted this Hibernate method completely to my JPA method. Now there is nothing from the Hibernate. Yeah. So that is the advantage here, guys. Yeah. So this is the way you can do the things with the help of your JPA part. So same way we needs to cover up other things also here. So now let's move on to the next part. So the next part is fetch owner details. So when you say fetch owner details here, it will be case 2. We will be providing an owner ID, and then it is going to this particular owner service sample. So first we will say find owner. So when you will say find owner, it will again come back here, and again you see it is taking help of session and session factory here. So this first line I can just copy paste from this particular part. I hope you will support me in this, guys, that yeah, I can copy this thing here. Yeah, I mean, why to write the same thing again and again? Now the next thing is we need to write something like this get method here. So again, let's take help of this entity manager here. So I am doing something like this, and let me say here get. So let's see if we have this get method. So the answer is entity manager don't contain anything like get method. So that's the difference. Persist method was same, but here we don't have anything like a get method. So since there is nothing like get method, let's see if we have something different. So the difference is that here we have the find method. So this find method is same as this get method. The only difference is in the name. Rest other things are same. There also you were first giving the class and then the primary key. Here also it is the same thing. So one and a same thing. So here this particular part we have done, and this is going to provide me the owner. We don't need to start any transaction here. Yeah. And rest of the things, can I copy from this? The answer is yes, I can copy from the below part. So what I'm actually doing, I'm checking if it is non-null, then I'm unproxying the pet also here. Otherwise, you know that here the owner is lazy loading the pet. So if you are not going to do this, it won't load your pet here. Yeah. So that is the thing. Now some of you may say that, okay Abhishek, for this particular part you are taking help of Hibernate. So this is some particular part here, guys, that yes, you need to take help of the implementation only. JPA has no direct way of unproxying this particular pet here. Yeah. So one option is either you start taking help of the eager loading, or you take help of the Hibernate. In case if you say, what if we are making usage of Eclipse link, then Eclipse link is going to provide you some different method which is going to do the unproxy part here. Yeah. That is actually eager loading your particular pet here. In case if you see every time you want to do an eager loading, so there directly in the annotation level, there itself you do, I mean in this particular part, so directly you can do the eager loading. Okay. So this is something. So there is no equivalent for this particular one. That's why at the end there is going to be at least one Hibernate input in your code here. Yeah. And that is fine. Our goal is not to completely eliminate. Our goal is to go to the standard as much as possible. Whatever is not possible, that is not possible. Okay. Here now at least later on when you say I will be moving on to Eclipse link, you don't need to change each and everything. You just need to change one single line. That's it. Simple. Okay. Now let's move on with the next particular part here, that is update pet details. So for update pet details also, here you see we have session, then we have transaction. So let me take help of this particular part. So I'm copying this one here. So let me copy, and yeah, this is the one. So something like this I have pasted here, and same way I need to commit this particular transaction also here. So let me quickly commit the transaction. Yeah, and same thing I need to do later on in delete also. So there also will do. So this session we have done, this we have done. Now the part is, again, first of all we need to get the owner before we can make any changes in that. So again, for that we can make usage of this particular find method here. So yeah, this find method we are doing the things. Now the next thing is we need to check if it is not null. If it is not null, change the name and merge it. So this we can simply make the same use as it is. Okay, and here you see that okay, it is coming from session. So let's change it to entity manager. So entity manager is also having your merge method, and you can just simply make usage of it. So it's that simple. The only thing is, here instead of get, you just need to make it find method. Rest all other methods and everything are similar here, guys. Okay, so this part we have done. The next one is delete owner. So let's do that also. Again, for this you need a transaction here, and not only transaction, you need to get it also. After getting, you need to check if it is null or not. So let's copy all these things from here. So yeah, so this way we can get the things, and again we need to commit the things also. So let's commit this particular part. So here we were having the remove method. Now let's see, do we have anything equivalent to the remove method here? So let me directly take help of this entity manager and let me paste it here. Yeah, my remove method is working fine. So here also not many changes. So you see, already we were taking help of the standard methods. So with Hibernate also they were the standard methods, and with JPA also these are the standard methods. The only major change is in your find method. So instead of get, it is your find. Instead of session factory, entity manager factory. Instead of session, entity manager. Instead of transaction, entity transaction. And here, first of all, you need to get, and then you need to begin. So most of the people make mistake in this part. They just say that okay, like there was a single method, here also we can have a single method. The answer is no. You need to get, and then you need to begin. If you will forget to begin the session and directly you will try to commit, then it will give you the error that okay, there was no session, or session was not in the perfect state. Okay, because you never initiated your session. So that is the major change here, guys. Yeah, so this particular part is done. So now we have changed all the basic methods from Hibernate to the JPA standards. So that part is done here. Here we are just left with HQL and the Hibernate criteria builder. In pet repository IMPL, let me just quickly check if we have anything. So this is a standard method, you see. So let's make changes here also, and let me again take help of this particular method here. So this one I can take help. So let me just copy it from here. Let me paste the same thing here, guys. Yeah, this is the one. And here also I can just, let me see if I can just simply copy paste this. So yeah, I can copy this, and if I take help of this entity manager, I can replace it here. But again, the get method is not there, so I need to go with the find method. So again, this is same. Yeah, so many things we have done so quickly. That is the point. So if you know the Hibernate, then only you can do so. Many of the times people may say that okay, directly why you are running so fast, you are not covering it in detail. But the point is, in Hibernate we have covered each and everything in detail. You see a video, if you don't find anything there, and you see that here also I haven't explained, then you tell me the thing. Okay, so this is the point. You also need to do a bit of hard work here. Okay, every time I can't do that much amount of hard work, guys. So now next particular part, again if we go here, so we have done this add new owner, fetch owner details, update pet details, delete part also done. Now the next fifth point is fetch all owners. So for the fetch all owners, you remember that in Hibernate we were not having any direct method which can provide us each and everything from the owner list. Okay, so there was no method which can provide you the owner list here. So hence I said that only two ways are there if you want the owner list. That is, one option is to take help of SQL, other option is to take help of the Hibernate criteria API. These are the two options, and since this is a very basic thing, so here we can do the things easily with the help of SQL. So here also I have done something like this SQL, and you remember here, in order to do the eager fetching, because I wanted all the pets also. So I just made usage of this join fetch. So instead of a normal join, I was saying join fetch. And there you said, see, I wrote something like this, create selection query, sorry. Then there I was passing HQL, and I know the list is of owner, and then the method was get result list. Let's see how the things are going to look like here. But before this, again, the number one thing here is that we need to take help of this session factory. So let me again copy this particular part here. So I have just copied this here, yeah, and let me just paste this thing here, guys, because like this is the minimum thing you need to do. Again, you need to go with your entity manager and something like this. Now here, if you remember, here we were calling it as HQL. Now, do we need to make any change here? The answer is no, you don't need to make any change, but just since we are working with the JPA and everything here, so let's at least rename it to as JPQL. Query will remain same. So that means you don't need to learn anything new here. Whatever you learned in HQL, same works for your JPQL also. Yeah. Next part is this particular one, return and all this. So let's copy this part here, and instead of session, let's call it as entity manager here. So this I have mentioned here, entity manager. Now let's see, do we have this same method here? So create, and here with the create entity graph, no, named query, no, we just want to go with a simple query. So here you see that with the simple query, we have all these 4 options available here. That is, we can create these queries like this. So there is nothing like create selection query. So that is the point. Here we have a normal create query. So within this create query only, you need to give your things here, and there is nothing like create selection query, guys. So that is an important part. So let us replace the things like this JPQL, and here it is again going to be owner class. Now we need to get a list from this. So let's see if we can get. So here the answer is that yes, we can get this result list. So this also we can get it very easily here. So this is the difference. Here it is typed query, which is actually coming, and there it was coming it as selection query. So selection query is specific to Hibernate. Here, since it is JPA, so it is a journal. Create query is the method here. That's why many times you see people are actually saying that they are using Hibernate, but they go by this method. But this is actually a JPA standard method. So that's why there is nothing wrong whether you use this method or that method. Things are going to look same only, guys, for us. Yeah. Now this particular part has been done here. Then next one was fetch pet details. So that we have already done here. We were providing a single pet ID, we were getting the pet details. So that is done. Next one was find average age of the pet. Okay. So for this also we need to go in this particular pet repository, and again let's see what are the changes here. So number one thing which you again can tell me also is that this HQL part is going to remain same. So let's simply change it to as JPQL here. So this change we have done here. Then next thing is you will say that this try block will also come into the picture. Okay, I just clicked wrong. So this try block will also come into the picture. Okay, so that also I have mentioned here. Again, entity manager we need to take care of. So again, same method, create query. So this is the method we will be using here, create query. And within this create query, again the same part, we need to give 2 things, the JPQL, so that is number 1, and the next part is your double dot class. So that we will be providing here. Yeah. And here this time we don't want a list, it is a single method. So let's see. So here with the single result, here we will just get a single result. Okay, so this is the point here, guys, that there the method what get single result or null. Here the method is get single result. So this is your answer. So here in case if there is no result, it is going to throw an exception, no result exception. So this is the one, otherwise you will get the output here. Okay, so this is something important to note, it is not going to provide you the null here. So that is something which is needs to be taken care of in this particular part. Otherwise this also we have done the standard, and here you can see we were able to remove each and everything from Hibernate. So now in my pet repository IMPL, at least I can say there is nothing from Hibernate, each and everything is from JPA standards. So this repository is completed, guys. Now coming on to this last but not the least part. So here we were taking a help of Hibernate criteria builder. So this we were using. Now let's try to do the same thing with the help of simple criteria builder. Let's see how the things look like here. So again, this particular entity manager we need to start as always. So I have copied it and let me just paste it here. So this part I have done here. Now after this, the next change which we need to do here is we need to take help of this entity manager here. Now there, if you remember, we were getting this criteria builder. Now let's see what this criteria builder is going to provide us. So the method is same, criteria builder. Okay. So this is the standard method, criteria builder. There was no HP Hibernate equivalent for this. And now this time it is going to provide us directly criteria builder. Now you will say, how is it possible that sometimes it is providing you Hibernate criteria builder, sometimes it is providing you directly criteria builder? Because if you see, the parent of your Hibernate criteria builder was actually criteria builder. Hibernate criteria builder was coming from Hibernate, and this particular criteria builder is coming from Jakarta. That's the only difference here, guys. Yeah, not again much difference. And why it is automatically able to identify which one needs to give depending on your session. So if you are making it from session, it will give you Hibernate criteria builder. If you are making it from entity manager, it will give you a normal criteria builder. Okay, so that's the major change here. So let me just rename it like this, criteria builder. Yeah, so this particular part also I have changed here. Now it is my criteria builder. Now the next thing. So the next thing which we were doing there was we were creating the query, okay, with the help of this Hibernate criteria builder. So let me do something. Believe me, here most of the things are same. So let me just copy it and paste it here once, okay, and now show you the magic. So now the only change which I need to do is everywhere I just need to change the name. So the moment I will start saying that now it is coming from criteria builder, this criteria query will remain same. It was already coming. There was no Hibernate equivalent. Then this root was also again from JPA, no Hibernate equivalent. Join was from JPA already. And here also we just need to do it from the criteria builder. Okay. So this selection also was also from JPA only. So this part is same. And here the last but not the least change which you need to do is this particular entity manager. Okay, this. And here, as you know, we don't have anything like selection query. So it is just a normal create query. So this is the one. Rest, max results, first result, get result list will work as it is. So this also you can remove on the things. Yeah. And now let's go on the top and let's see how many things are there from Hibernate now. So now you see everything is coming from JPA. There is just one simple thing from Hibernate, and that is also because we need to unproxy this, because we need to load our pet here eagerly. So that is the only thing. Now if you say me that okay, now start making usage of Eclipse link, so what I will do basically, so what I'm going to do here is I will just go to my pom.xml. Instead of Hibernate, this Hibernate dependency, I will replace it with Eclipse link dependency. That is number one change. Then my persistence XML is going to remain same. The only change is I need to remove this particular property, hibernate.showSQL. There must be something equivalent in Eclipse link. Yeah, that is second change. No change in your entity classes. Everything was coming from your JPA only. Let's quickly verify. So here you see everything from JPA. Let's go to domestic pet, everything from JPA. Let's go to owner, again you see everything from JPA. Let's go to this pet, again you see everything from JPA. Let's go to wild pet, again everything is from JPA. So no change in entity. Now go to config. So in config, everything is again from JPA. So this part is same. Pet repository IMPL, everything is from JPA. So this is also done. No change required here. Okay, so let me just close it to left. Okay, I need to close all. Okay, so there was just one change in pom.xml, and now one simple change you need to do in your owner repository IMPL. You need to replace this unproxy. So there must be some different method in Eclipse link that you need to check, and that you just need to replace. And now this is your more portable thing, because now it is following each and everything from the JPA standards. Now if you say that okay, you didn't explain this particular part in detail, so check the video of Hibernate criteria builder. There this complete thing has been explained in detail. I have made around, let's say, 5 to 6 methods. Each and every part I have mentioned how to decide this, how to decide this. Everything has been converted there. Okay. So this is the things, guys, and now your things are going to work. My database was already ready, so let me just quickly start this particular one here, and yeah, you see everything is working fine here. Now let me directly go for, let's say, page number something like fetch all owners. Let's try to fetch all owners here. That is simple. So you see, just with the help of single query, it is able to fetch. Eager fetching is available here. Let's again click a Y, and let's say fetch something like pet details. Let's give ID as 10. So this is also working fine. Same way, other things also you can just quickly check. Let's say again Y, and let's say 7 this time. So age is also giving. So almost each and every methods are working. Okay, now you can just give it a try on your own for other methods also. 3 I have shown you, others you can just download it and you can do. The only thing which you need to do is that before directly executing this, since in my case I had already made the tables and everything, okay, in the previous video, if you remember, there I executed this data SQL. So you need to execute this data SQL also first, otherwise by default it is empty. So in that case, first of all, you need to add the details also to the something. That is also possible. I guess it is not much difficult because we are having this add new owner method, so you can do the things easily. So I hope you enjoyed this particular series, and I guess pretty much it is almost the end of this series, until unless you will ask me anything more specific to in terms of Hibernate. So you can consider that this is the last video of the Hibernate playlist, guys. Yeah, in case I will be getting in future anything in comments, or in case there is any change in any of the things, then I may add a new video to this playlist. Otherwise this is the last, and now I guess we are ready to start with our new playlist. Okay, so let's see what playlist you will demand after this, and we will start with that one. So thanks everyone, keep supporting and keep sharing the videos. Thanks.